Hello, Goth Reaper. You don't know me, so I'll introduce myself to you. My name is Dave. Um, I learned of your plight a couple days ago, and I've been thinking about how best to respond to it, and this is part of that response. I wanted to let you know that I've seen courage and I've seen cowardice, and you have shown one of the best examples of courage that I've ever seen. Now, when you first logged on to YouTube and started posting videos, perhaps you didn't know what you were letting yourself in for. When you came back, you most certainly knew, okay? But you came back anyway. And that took guts. And you have earned this Marine's admiration. And you've become one of my heroes. When I have a bad day and, am feeling miserable, you've become another person that I can think about and be thankful that I don't have to deal with the difficulties that you do, and appreciate the gifts that I have been given once again. So you have just succeeded in making my bad days just a little bit less bad. And again, your display of courage, it is a perfect dichotomy, a perfect example of the difference between courage and cowardice. Courage on your part in coming back and posting in spite of your speech difficulties, versus the cowardice of those who are attacking you in such vicious ways, and the fact that they're afraid to show their faces or let anybody hear their voice. Okay? It's a perfect example of that difference. Now, one thing I would like to ask of you, and please, don't let these people get to you. Don't react to them, because that's what they're looking for. That's what they feed off of, okay? Is that reaction. They want to make you mad. They want to get you incensed, okay? And they giggle at it because it gives them a sense of power. Don't react to them at all. Don't show any reaction to them at all. They'll get bored and go away after a while, okay? And they'll look for some other victim that they can get a reaction out of. Now, I'm going to be sending you two videos after I get this uploaded. One is a video I made a few days ago that is specifically about and to people who are being called names and letting it get to them and letting their feelings be hurt. And the other one is my first video, which is an introduction to me, so that you'll know who I am and what my situation is, and understand where I'm coming from and why I can kind of empathize with your situation. I'm not walking in your shoes, and I'm not going to pretend that I am, but I can kind of understand. So now, second part of this is to the community in general. I've heard some good ideas about changing the flag system, if it is in fact the problem. But to be honest, I'm not sure that it is. With the experience that the creators of YouTube have with the internet, I have a hard time believing that they would allow an automated system to ban someone, because that would give the power to these little small-minded griefers that just like to run around causing problems for people. I suspect, I don't know this, I suspect that as Goth Reaper allowed these people to get to her and make her angry, and she responded to them, she may have stepped over the bounds of the terms of service, and then these griefers reported her, and that may be what got her initial account banned. I don't know that, but I suspect that. Now let me tell you how griefers work, and this comes from having been doing this sort of thing, although this is the first time it's audio video. It's always been text before. Since before the internet started. I mean, I had a computer set up with a bulletin board system, and other people from around the country could call into my computer and leave messages to each other and discuss issues and such. And on that situation, I was the cop on the beat, maintaining order on my forum, okay? Then the forums on the internet started, and on hosted forums similar to YouTube. I've run my own forums. I've helped run other forums. I've been just simply a poster in some of these forums. But I've done this a lot of years, and this is how griefers tend to work. They have a legitimate account, and then they make a bunch of little dummy accounts. And they use the dummy accounts to make the attacks on somebody that they have chosen as a victim. And then once they get that victim angry enough to respond in a way that violates that service's terms of use, they come in with their legitimate account and, oh my gosh, I'm so offended and I'm so shocked by this. You know, YouTube, you have to do something about this person. And that's why you see that most of the critics and these attackers don't have any videos up. They don't have any subscribers. If they do have videos up, it's not original material. They never show their face. They never let anybody hear their voice. It's because they've got a real account somewhere else. And they're basically hiding. Okay? Because they're too chicken shit to show themselves and voice their opinions as themselves. Alright? So the best defense against that is not anything that YouTube can do. The best defense to that is us, the community. And basically turning into a sort of YouTube neighborhood watch program where we all watch each other's backs. And if we see these kind of attacks and cyber stalking and that sort of thing going on, report the attackers. And if you are under attack, don't respond with anger. Don't respond with vulgarity. Don't jeopardize your own account by violating YouTube's terms of service. Write a nice, pleasant, private message to that person. It'll be saved in your sent mailbox that says, please leave me alone. And then send them a second one. And make sure you mention that it's the second one. And say, this is the second time I'm asking you. Please leave me alone. And then tell them you are violating YouTube's terms of service on harassment and any other violations they have, personal attacks, that sort of thing. If they continue to attack, do it a third time and mention, this is the third time that I'm asking you to do this. And do the same thing. Mention the terms of service, mention the violations they're committing. All that stuff goes into the database in YouTube's computer, and it's stored there. It doesn't matter if the message is erased or not. It's stored in their database. Okay? And if they continue to attack you after that, then you start reporting them to YouTube, because then it is undeniably harassment. You've done nothing to provoke it. You've not responded to it in kind. And you haven't endangered your account. What the folks who run these kinds of forums tend to do, if two people get into a flame war with each other and start trashing each other, is they delete both people. Okay? But here's one of the interesting things that happens with these people that make all these little fake accounts. Okay? YouTube will start to notice that all these people that are causing problems for other users on their systems, the productive users on their system, have the same ID, have the same IP number. It'll take a little while, but they'll begin to notice that. And then what happens is what's called a cascade lockout. And all of their accounts are deleted at once. And their IP number is locked out. And they cannot get back on YouTube. And it does take a while, but that is what will end up happening. I've seen it happen on several different forums. Okay? Now, to you griefers out there, little bit of information you might want to be aware of. 1.4 million people, actually a little bit more than 1.4 million people every year in the United States alone suffer traumatic brain injuries. Okay? Now, out of that number, between 8 and 900,000 of them end up with permanent disabilities due to those injuries. So, your odds of ending up with a brain injury due to slipping in the bathtub, getting in a car accident, slipping on the ice when winter is coming, falling down a set of stairs, whatever, your odds of being a victim of a brain injury like that are not all that remote. It's entirely possible. And then you start to walk in Goth Reaper's shoes, if you're lucky, because you may end up far worse than her. Okay? Her brain works. You guys may be too stupid to realize it, but her brain works. You can see it when she types text because it's perfect English, perfect punctuation. You can see it in her artistic videos. They're very well done. The only problem she's got is in her speech center, and it makes speech difficult for her. That's it. There's nothing wrong up here. And there's no reason for you people to be attacking her. And there's a good chance you may end up, in the course of your lifetime, being in her shoes. The difference being, with your hateful little hearts, you're going to be lashing out at people instead of being nice. And before long, any empathy that anybody has for you and your plight is going to disappear, and you're going to be all alone. And I'm not talking about alone like she is, where she's homebound. I'm talking about alone where nobody cares about you. Nobody cares a thing about you. Okay? You're going to get dumped in a nursing home somewhere and get that crappy treatment that people get in nursing homes. And, well, you will have earned it by your own behavior. So that's something y'all ought to think about as you make these attacks. What's the purpose of them? If you don't like her videos, don't watch them. Okay? Let her post to her friends in peace. Let the people that enjoy her and care about her watch her videos in peace. Leave her the hell alone. She doesn't deserve these kinds of attacks. If you think this kind of thing is funny, I don't suspect that you'll think it's so funny if it happens to you. And think about those numbers, because it's not that far off. It may happen to you. Okay? That's about 1 in 300. No, let's see. Yeah, that's almost 1 in 300 people every year ends up with a permanent disability from brain injury. Every year. So think about over the course of your lifetime what your odds are of suffering from a brain injury that ends up in a permanent disability. You may end up in her shoes. And with that, I'm going to say again to Goth Reaper, you've become my hero, and I thank you very much. You're an inspiration, and you are a very courageous woman. I admire you a whole lot, and that is not something that I give to people. They must earn that. So, keep posting the positive stuff and don't react to the negative. Just don't give them that satisfaction. And with that, I'm going to say adios and hasta luego, and I'll holler at y'all later. Thank you for listening.